Greetings, everybody, and welcome to That Game Place Live. That's right, That Game Place. Every Tuesday, you get a live show. Several times a week, you get a video. We're going to ramp that up into production quite quickly. We've got live competition streaming starting up here in just a couple of weeks in February. Once I have returned from Florida for the meetup in Orlando, we have so many people hanging out in the chat. I want to say hi to Ninja, Pat, 15. We've got Joseph Frost Ghost. We've got Tom F in the house. We've got Argentum. Hello there. Nerds. That's right. Meant is the highest compliment. Yes. We've got Juliet here from across the pond. Great to see you. And welcome to TGP. We've got Nolan Thunder, who's going to be on today's panel and is an author on another article from That Game Place. Actually, That Park Place, but we're just going to grab it, pull it over here. We've got Postum up there. Good to see you. Just came from Vera Darkstream. She is doing great. And I'm glad that she got a chance to talk to the CI Game CEO. That's really kind of cool. And Vera's we're big fans of Vara around here. Var Dark. We've got Paul Whitaker out there. Good to see you, my friend. Mark Fields is bringing his positive vibes. We've got Hawaiian Dragon Star. Aloha. And of course, Radial Drago. And we've got to get fired up. I want to say thanks to those of you who are rolling in the door, like Butterbiscuit92, and the people that will eventually make their way over from the Pro Show Live. But without further ado, let me introduce the first guest panelist we have for the day. A good friend of mine and quite the author, and happens to be in the chat. It's Nolan Thunder. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, everybody. I am pumped. I'm so excited to be back here, and it couldn't be any better than having Mr. Culture Casino leading the charge. I'm excited.
Hey, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got plenty of stories to talk about. We got 90 minutes to do it in. We have all of you out there to support us, and we just want to say thank you. We would be nothing without you. We're trying to get this channel over 5K, and we need to grow the team, and we can only do that with your help, especially if you want us to like competitively game against each other. I know we've got some game reviews coming up. I'm personally going to review what Nolan just went to grab a controller. There you go. But I'm personally going to review the Assassin's Creed Shadows game. So I will play a video game so you don't have to. I will show you the 4 tons of fun lady that is in that. And that is not a rumor. That lady is really real. She is a Kishiki. And that's supposed to actually literally translate into strong man, kind of sumo looking, very strange, did not exist at that particular time. Probably didn't exist until like maybe 100 years ago, unless you were royalty. But that's a whole other conversation. We're going to jump right into our first story. Nolan, this is something that should not surprise anyone. I don't think it surprised me. It shouldn't surprise you. But I want to say welcome to Frank, who I just saw pop in the back there. Hey, Frank,
Hey.
Another amazing author for That Park Place. And we appreciate you being here, my friend. I don't know why I didn't notice you in the back. I don't know why that didn't happen until just now, but
it's just I was late. It's my fault.
No worries. But let's get to the first story of the day, and I think you guys are going to like it. You're going to know why it happened. I know why it happened. It happened because somebody was not doing their job, paying attention, or caring. Warner Brothers Games boss David Haddad resigns as Sweet Baby Inc. infected. Suicide Squad kill the Justice League. Fallout decimates Warner Brothers gaming division. And it certainly did, didn't it? Gosh, guys, how popular was this game, do you think?
Oh, Suicide Squad, it's fantastic. It's the best game I've ever played. I really truly believe it. If you need to play this game, it's so good. But I also think I was drunk, slightly lobotomized.
Oh, okay.
And I also think I probably was dreaming of a better game. But yeah, it's 10 out of 10.
Kind
in
of
Imaginarium land.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Nolan, you remember the initial backlash from this, or lack of viewership or playership in Steam and other places?
I just remember when the ending first leaked and all the stuff happened with Harley Quinn executing Batman, how I think collectively the internet entered rage mode, and I felt a dark cloud heading towards the WB studios, and the only victim was going to be layoffs.
And there's been plenty. And what's really strange is this game earned its hate because initially when the fandom, the live thing, the video presentation they did instead of having people get together at like a coliseum or something. You guys remember that when this was introduced? And it looked completely different there than it ended up being here, which says a lot about what happened to Rocksteady in those 3 years before it was released. But the fallout has claimed another major casualty. It took President David Haddad stepping down after a catastrophic year for the division, marred by the $200 million failure of Rocksteady's live service DC Arkhamverse game. The key factor in this debacle, the divisive involvement of SBI, the narrative design firm co-founded and run by Kim Ballar. The firm's embrace of identity politics and disruptive creative direction as well left a trail of failures across the gaming industry. I don't know how better to say that. Guys, do you remember some of the most divisive scenes? Frank, do you recall? The one of the worst here was this thing that leaked before the game released of the execution of Batman.
Yeah. The one thing I noticed, surprisingly, before anything else, with that scene, um, because that scene is so badly written, is
Mhm.
she shoots Batman in the head with a revolver, yet you hear a casing falling on the floor. That was just to me
No.
like going, you guys you guys don't even know what you're writing. Like the fact that this is such a pivotal, important scene, at least for them, like obviously they're gonna piss off the fans, but they also don't understand basic logic. It's like that to me, that was just like, yeah, you guys didn't give a shit, didn't give a manure about this scene, and it's clearly not. I mean, it's tiny detail, but to me, it's like, yeah, you have no respect for this, none whatsoever,
You have a good
and the
point there because it shows that the devil is really in the detail. Because part of
Yeah.
what made the prior games just so fantastic was just no matter what kind of Batman fan you were, there were little things hiding all throughout, like Arkham Asylum with like the Riddler trophies, the Mad Hatter cameos in both
yeah,
games. Like City was just so expansive, and everything was just thread so well. They went out of their way to get the animated series voice cast
yeah,
back. All the costumes look like a natural new take. Whereas this, you look at it, and with like we were bringing up with that bullet, it shows that the priority of this game went into concepts and ideas as opposed to making sure they had the proper amount of care to really get the impact across. They were probably more focused on, hey, let's see how Harley's speech can impact the young players reading this game about how the heroes are far more problematic than we realize, as opposed to, hey, let's make sure we're getting all our facts straight here to where we can give our take on a message and let the viewer make up their mind for themselves. And instead, I think they just made everybody mad. I haven't seen one person defend this yet.
no, it's also makes no logic. Like, I know for a fact that Rocksteady was going to make a Superman game. They pitched it and apparently was rejected by Warner Bros. So they went with Suicide Squad because they wanted to make this, a looter shooter, free to play. Well, not free to play, but they wanted Fortnite pretty much. But again, when the announcement for Suicide Squad, like I think everyone reacted with like, wait, what? How? Because the characters you're playing is Harley Quinn, a Boomerang guy, Deadshot, and Shark, and everyone's thinking like, wait, what are their actual like primary, let's say, superpowers such as Batman, Superman? I mean, I know Batman doesn't have a superpower, but like stealth and predatory, being predatory is like his thing, like fear. What are theirs? Because Harley Quinn is still just a human with a baseball bat, and Deadshot, yes, he has skills, but it made no sense. Nobody like, how do you play that? Like my first question was like, how do you play this? And then when they introduced it, I was like, oh, this is Fortnite skin. I mean, that's pretty much it. That's what they were trying to do, only without the multiplayer, like without battle royale.
Well, and
It was
that's really the only reason that they went with a live service is the
Yeah.
same reason all these other studios are. And guess what? They're all learning a valuable lesson.
Yeah.
Gamers hate it. Gamers
Yeah.
hate it. It is something that enrages me like, especially for the single player game, primarily if it doesn't have a multiplayer component. I'm like, you absolutely don't need to be a live service. Not at all. You can certainly update or patch or whatever, but I don't need extra skins. I don't need anything else, right? And if you want to sell those to me, you don't even need to be a live service to do it.
Yeah.
This is a big problem. For you guys though, I think we're coming from the same place, but I got to ask a question. Do you expect games like this to come out in the future? Games that are very limited in the scope of anything multiplayer, if they have it at all, and it just happens to be live service with those skins. Do you think that this is going to be a model going forward, considering just how much backlash they're even going to get on a price raise?
I think we've seen a reckoning because they've lost a lot of money on this video game, and many others have lost too. Concord was a big disaster, about up to $400 million in loss, from what I understood. $200 million on Suicide Squad. And the thing is, if they want to do, I guess, the live service gameplay with focus on single player, they need to look at what China is doing with Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, and these mega popular games that, even though they are very much multiplayer aspect focused as well, they're more single player focused than anything else. But then you need to put in the work. Like, they are really detailed when it comes to new characters, new storylines, new regions. Like, there is so much to do that is not just the same thing over and over again. I was shocked when I tried it myself, and it's free to play, which is a big plus. You can't have the Suicide Squad game, expect somebody to pay $60 to $70, and it's pretty much a repetitive, barren, badly written, cringy, disrespectful product. No, you keep, like, it's gonna fail. If you want that kind of live service, you need the quality control, you need the continuous support with new stuff, new themes, new storylines, new single plays, new regions, everything, new characters. And then I think that kind of aspect is going to gameplay is going to continue. I mean, look at Path of Exile; they are doing phenomenal. So yeah, I mean, it's just
speaking of which, I mean, you're just watching some of these gaming studios, these two AA studios, and so on and so forth. They're the emerging 3A studios, because I'm telling you right now, you're seeing games coming out now, fans getting behind them. The CEOs are standing strong. Saber Interactive's got a strong CEO. I mean, you're seeing gamers line up to elevate these studios. They'll move from that AA area to the AAA status quickly, and all they have to do is produce non-woke games. That's all. It's very simple. And they need to keep their studio sizes small, because the biggest mistake, I think, and this is the last thing I'm going to ask you guys during this story, I think the bigger the studio, the more reliant they are on outside investment. Smaller studios don't. They just make the game.
The game is also usually... Go ahead.
No, I've said more enough. Your turn now.
So, and the game usually comes out better as a result of it. I mean, I truly believe that we are at the beginning of a major shift coming in the gaming industry in a lot of different avenues, because we started seeing a change, with the content within the game. We've seen it with games like Stellar Blade, if the trailer for the recent Ninja Gaiden 4 is anything to be believed by, where we're kind of shifting back to the trends we used to see more in the 90s and the early 2000s. I think this is also going to reflect in how a lot of these companies are going to be producing these games and distributing them, because it's truly proving that this live service model can't work for everybody, much unlike how it's worked for some of the more successful franchises out there. And I think eventually these companies are just going to have to bite the bullet and pivot in some way. I'm sure they'll find some other way, to make long-term profits, whether it's from microtransactions, or maybe we're going back to a lot of really expensive DLC again. But I really think we are on the verge of, we're not the like big event, where there's a slap in the face game that comes out that's super unpolitically correct and changes everything. And it's you pay the money, the whole game's there, you get hours and hours of content. I don't think we've had that just yet, but I think we're really heading towards that direction. But if I could say one more thing on the matter,
Sure.
I do believe that you're asking, where is live service gaming going? I think it's going to take out some more studios before it's truly gone, because I would say, unlike the movie industry and Hollywood and all that, usually like your movies that were canceled, like your Batgirls and stuff like that, that David Zaslav took the tax write-off on, that's
Right.
very uncommon in that industry. Gaming, if there's anything I've learned over the years, they will can a studio before a game even makes it to the market. So I think you're going to be seeing a few studios going down with it. And it's kind of tragic because they kind of dug their own grave. I think it's inevitable.
Yeah, I think that's a precisely correct. Go ahead, Frank.
We actually talked about this on the other stream I was just on, how the change will first. You mentioned a shift, and that's absolutely correct. But first, it's going to come on films, because films, once again, takes a year to make, a year if you're fast, and they make so many at the same time that, okay, we can try this, we can try this, we can try this. Games takes 4 to 5, maybe even 6 years to make each one. So I think 2025 is going to be the year we're going to see a lot of noise coming, a lot of failures, but also the last year where this ideology is really going to crumble and die out. And then 2026 is when I think we're going to see video games really shift in the AAA aspect, and AA is probably going to gobble up a lot. Like recently there was this controversy with Warhorse Studios, which Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, etc. Don't need to go too much into it, but there is a factor that when a private company actually is private and independent, they have more freedom to do what they think is the best for the game. But once they become public and not private anymore, bought out, things change. And we've seen this with Warhorse Studios. Suddenly there is a shift of philosophy on how to make a game, and this is the big problem. Why is this happening? Why is it every time a private company that used to do it very well then gets bought out in Western companies more than anything else? Why is this changing? Why is it that these executives that come in then say, okay, I know how to do this, and then suddenly they fail and the studio just gets layoffs and closes down? Why? Where is this mentality coming from? I like 10 years of this, and I can't understand it.
Yeah, I don't get it either, but there's a lot, there's a lot going on in the background of these companies that they're trying to serve masters that are not their retail investors. They're trying to serve these large funds. And the problem is these large funds are pushing a lot of these initiatives, trying to make money cheaper, for these studios. Same with film, television, games, doesn't matter. But that's really honestly what's going on in the background. Now we do have some supers to get to, all the great commentary from our folks out there. So hang on just a moment. I will get to all 6 of these. We've got T. Neil adding to the conversation for $2, saying, so approximately as popular as chlamydia. Yeah, I would say that that the recent releases, not obviously including the Squad versus Justice League, is for sure.
Actually, chlamydia has more users than Suicide Squad. Just saying.
Yeah, probably at any given time. Thank you, Frank. That's not
Congrats
a normal
on your
comment.
10th super chat, by the way.
Yeah, and congrats. Yeah, the 1,010 super chat. We love you, T. Neil. Jacob Foxfires is in the house for $5 worth of quarters, saying, man, another mass layoff. Yeah, you have no idea. They ain't stopping anytime soon. I was just talking about the failure of game studios on a stream yesterday, and yeah, Sony's going to find a way to the bottom across the board. That's a whole other conversation. But it's a new year. I'm still waiting for the total layoffs we had last year and really put
they'll be close to the bottom. The good news for them, if there's one kind thing I can say about their direction, at least they'll be above Microsoft.
Yeah, Ubisoft is toast. Ubisoft lost another studio. I mean, they just keep losing them. I think this is 3 studios they've shut down in less than a month of total time. So yeah, it's not great. But thank you again. I really appreciate it. I'm telling you right now, a minimum of 12 studios will close in 2025, and already I have 3 in the bank. So more to come. More to come. But yeah, so thank you for that, Jacob. We've got a good friend, Kaliki Okedi, in the house for $2 worth of quarters, saying 2024 was a bloodbath for the gaming industry. It was, and it's going to be equal or worse this year. Gentlemen, your thoughts, equal or worse? That's it. Quick hit.
It'll be
Worse.
it's probably gonna be worse because it's gonna be the final nail in the coffin, and they're not gonna go quietly. I mean, we're
No.
already seeing people who are being laid off or are like so angry and passionate about gamers, actual real gamers, criticizing certain games, and they're not not even gonna try to be nice now. They're just saying whatever they're thinking now. They're calling us all kinds of names. I mean, just look at any game developers who has been criticized for implementing certain ideology, and that they're just like going 100% against you and trying to destroy you.
You bad milk cows. What do you think, Nolan? Worse? Better?
Oh,
Worse?
Oh, it's going to be worse. I think everyone's anticipating Ubisoft is going to be the big one. I have a strange feeling that there's going to be a dark horse. Like someone bigger than Ubisoft is going to shut down and it's going to blindside us.
Well, we just watched EA take it in the face. So, because of what happened with BioWare. But no, Frank, I agree with you. Nolan, I agree with you. I think we're in for a terrible, terrible year. Base player, 2011 iffy for 5 more in quarters. The writers of SSKTJ got to fulfill their ultimate fantasy of killing Batman. Hope throwing away your career was worth it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Frank, didn't they recently kind of backtrack on that?
Yeah, of course. After the backlash, they said like, oh, this is just one of the universes, and there are multiple universes, so they're probably gonna. I mean, they wanted to try to save it back by having, Superman and Batman coming back, and now they're making another Arkham game or something. I think it was like a remake or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're backtracking like crazy. But this mentality, yeah, but this mentality that these writers have, where they take established lore and they look at it. They get the job. They look at the established word and they say, "Oh, I can write better than this." Oh, who is this guy? J.R. Tolkien? Nah, I can write better than this.
Yeah,
it's like, no, you can't.
You can't. Marvin joined us. Marvin.
Hello. Sorry I am late, guys. I was posting a major exclusive on Ubisoft that our good friend Frank just wrote. Where apparently, according to Frank's sources, the delay of pushing the game back into March was not to improve gameplay, but to reduce Yasuke's role in the story.
Ooh.
Okay.
It's a huge.
Is that why is that why they brought the new Thunder Hips lady character in?
Probably.
Oh,
no, that was probably already in it. It's like,
I now realize, folks, why it's being called Assassin's Creed Shadows. That chick blocks out the sun. Holy cow!
You're talking about the female sumo wrestler.
Yeah. The Kashiki, which are
I've got that down on my list to look into. It's been between Captain America stuff and this, it has been a crazy morning today. So I apologize.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's bonker sauce today. It's been bonker sauce for a while. It's just like people are like, well, there's no news. I'm like, are you reading the same stuff I'm reading? You need to go.
This has been the craziest January for news ever. But as far as the Batman stuff is concerned, yes, they tried to say, oh, it was all clones. It was all part of Batman's plan. That smart Batman who we love so much and respect. It was all the clones that died. It wasn't the Justice League.
The clones.
So now I'm like, wait, so
totally not dead, by the way. It's like they're trying so hard.
What Frank said is completely right. You have these egomaniacs who look at the work of somebody like C.S. Lewis or Tolkien, and they believe that they can do better with it. And it's just insanely offensive that they think they can do that. And we saw it with Leslie Headland and the Acolyte. We're seeing it with the Rings of Power. It happens all the time. And we saw it with the studio formerly known as Rocksteady. And the DC Heroes and Batman.
Yeah. Well, I know we've got a lot to get through today. I'm going to keep getting through these amazing super chats from our wonderful supporters. Thank you, Bass Player 2011 Iffy.
Actually, it was Sweet Baby Inc. with Batman, not even
Yeah.
Rocksteady, because
Yeah.
it was SBI.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at all the names in the credits. I mean, you put that picture up. Pinochet's helicopter tours for $5 more in quarters, saying, "Will someone please tell me what happens to the activists who get fired from studios where the studios have hiring preferences that prefers activists?" Well, I don't think that's going to be in place much longer, my good friend Pinochet.
They
I
fail
think-
upwards.
yeah,
They fail
I-
upwards, unfortunately.
yeah, but okay. So Karine Bush falled out of her job. I'm not gonna even say she quit. She was shown the door.
Well, that fella said that he was going off to do a
Passion project.
some major opportunity that came up. I was like, yeah, the opportunity to leave before we fire you.
Or, to cash in your stock before we tumble further. Boy, did they fall. But yeah, I feel like the end of hiring the activists is coming. I think they're going to have a hard time finding jobs in the future, and I think the administration here in the States is sending a very loud and clear message. We are going to start coming after companies that do this. So there's that.
I mean, it's going to happen. You're absolutely correct. But up until like these past 10 years, when they destroyed so much, they've constantly failed upwards. And
yeah, you're right.
Now, as I hope, absolutely, it's gonna happen. That especially in the U.S., it's gonna happen first in the U.S. where things are gonna shift. But take for example here in Norway, just recently, Dustborn was nominated for the GLAAD Awards, and it's all over the Norwegian Film Institute news because they banked that game. Which, by the way, that's taxpayers' money that went into, and so that's gonna continue. That's gonna continue. They're gonna fail upwards. Because that is like, oh, that's great news. This game is a success, and we're
with
probably
the GLAAD Awards. With the GLAAD Awards, it's just like the gay game awards essentially. Like, I would love for Variety to cover it so they could send that dude around to be like, "Is this the gayest game you've ever done?" And they're like, "No, like everything here."
That guy sounds like Harvey Firestein, right? You know who that is?
Yeah.
It's just like Anyway, it's just incredible. So those are our thoughts. I'm not sure if they're going to be entirely 100% accurate, but I think DEI and activists in gaming are going to be gone in the next year and a half, 2 years. I think that the studios
the DEI activist games culture is still going to come out for the next 5 years,
probably. But I'm saying that these studios know that those are losers now. Speaking of which, real quick,
counter. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
please. Go.
No, I just wanted to say that I was saying a bit before you came on here. I don't think half the games are even going to make it to market. I think the studios are going to shut down before they even come out. Like, because in movies, they usually will at least get them out of the can. Game industries, there's a lot of lost media out there. I think we're going to lose half the stock.
I think you're probably right. All right, we got to get through these supers a little quicker. We got more. We got an exclusive story I want to get to, and I want to make sure I read this. Hawaii Dragon Star drops $5 worth of quarters on us. SSKJL is free on PlayStation Plus. Free. That's right.
Too much.
It's not even worth the bandwidth and drive space on my system. Who would I even play against? Well, there's 100 people on there. There's 100 people. It's got crossplay. You probably could find somebody. I don't know. But thank you, Hawaiian Dragon Star.
What's the current player count? I'm just curious now.
That's a good question.
Let's see. It's 312.
Yeah, you'll find somebody. Yeah. You might have to wait a little while, but you'll find somebody. T. Neal back in there swinging with $5 more in quarters, saying, "I won't shed any tears for the clowns that thought they could attack their audience with impunity." That's such a great word. They've earned every failure. Yeah, I think they did, and they were cheered on to that end as well. And I'm going to keep cheering them on. To be fair. Keep running things down, make them more affordable. And thank you, T. Neal, for all your support. Speaking of more support, it looks like Jacob and T. Neal are in a battle right now for $5 more in quarters. Jacob Foxbuyer says, "So far, my decade prediction is looking on point. Microsoft first to dip out of consoles, and Sony may be having another gen as Nintendo is unhindered." Nintendo, that's not this next story, but the following. The next story is going to be the exclusive that just dropped on That Park Place by by Frank, who wrote it, and by Marvin, who probably edited it lightly, because I can't imagine having to edit Frank's work. But thank you, Jacob Foxfire. We are going to get to Nintendo here in a moment, in a story that's actually written by Nolan. T-Neil89 for $5.25 says, saying AC Shadows has been improved is still like saying all of the places I've ever been kidnapped to, Treblinka had the nicest trees. Yes! That's the best analogy I've ever heard.
Wow.
And T. Neil dislikes puns, just so you know.
Also the arcade has graduated to quarters, because I thought we were getting Tolkien's.
Yeah, we were getting Tolkien's, but
I was imagining gold coins with J.R.R. Tolkien's head on them.
That would be pretty cool, right? That would be a really spendy arcade. I mean, billionaire arcade. But anyway, that'd be a neat show.
I have to say that Treblinka having the nicest trees is like, Jesus Christ, where are the other places you've been to?
Well, has the nicest. It's been kidnapped too. Right. I love it. You guys are incredible. We have such a great audience. I appreciate all of you and all of your support through your super duper chats. We love it. And nobody has more 10 super chats than T. Neil. Nobody. All right. Marvin and Frank, this is your racehorse. We're going to bring
this
in
is Frank's racehorse. I am just the conduit.
Okay. All right. This is we have Frank's racehorse. Let me introduce it very quickly. Exclusive from That Part Place. Assassin's Creed Shadows' delay was to scale back Yasuke after historical backlash. Folks, why would you have to do something like that? I don't know. We're going to let Frank explain as I bring the story up on the show. We've got there's Yasuke looking all Yasuke-ish. And we've got a source has confirmed that Ubisoft delayed Assassin's Creed Shadows in order to make narrative cuts that similarly limit the role of Yasuke in the story. Ubisoft made headlines recently by delaying the game a whole month. Many assumed at the time that Shadows was a buggy mess similar to Ubisoft's Star Wars. Talking about Star Wars Outlaws when it launched. And while that may have been true, early hands on streams have shown more than a few glitches and bugs. We have had it on good authority that there's something else going on behind the scenes. Frank, take it away.
Yeah, so essentially what's happening is that a source contacted me about, we were talking about why did the delay actually happen, and we also were discussing if the marketing was going to change drastically, because people started noticing that Yasuke was being, kind of like put in the shadow in the background, and like if you look at certain marketing pictures, you'll see the now is more prominent. And one thing that I noticed in the live stream is that they were really talking about the parkour system, and they were focusing more on how fluid it is, how nice it is. They even announced that, hey, the parkour system is what we worked on the delay. And that kind of went against what I had heard before, that they were saying they were going to fix like architectural structure and historical accuracy. And this person, the source who is unnamed, mentioned that, well, they actually were putting Yasuke more in the background and changing certain side quests and story beats, and also making him less prominent unlike Naue, who now is more the leading personal lady in this game. And for example, one thing that was mentioned, like in the Japanese version, there's going to be no reference to him as a samurai, and they're going to have him more be like a fearless warrior and nothing else. So they changed all of that, or what they can change, not as much as they want to, but apparently that is to simmer down the criticism that they're getting from what they're calling historical fanatics. And they're mentioning that they mean this to be the Japanese historical fanatics. I believe these people to be very true and correct, but that's a word that has been used in Ubisoft because it angers them, especially with the Thomas Lockley controversy, where it was found out that pretty much what he has written is not very accurate about Yasuke. And the template to Yasuke for this game was from his book, which has now been severely criticized by the Japanese historians.
How about outright debunked would be what I would use. You're being very kind.
I'm being centrist, because as always, you need to have preferably 4 sources to confirm everything.
Right.
That's at least what it used to be for journalists. And
Yeah.
I like to be that person still.
We have
Oh, I feel
journalistic
you.
standards on that Park Place Culture Casino. We like to maintain neutrality and let the truth speak for itself.
Hey, that's why
Exactly.
every one of my pieces is basically opinion. So there's that. But anyway, I will say this: we had a Spencer pop in on us here, and
Yay!
yeah, we yes, very much. Hey, we're glad you're here. But have you had a chance to take a look at this since it just dropped, or have you been able to see anything similar in reporting?
Yeah, I've seen similar stuff. I'm not gonna lie, unless it's a very big line thing, like an interview from a dev or something, I kind of haven't really, I really don't care about Assassin's Creed Shadows anymore. I feel like there's nothing really left to say. The only thing I'm really going to point out is that a lot of people are pointing to Yasuke playing different from Naue and going, oh, look, they totally cut his character. Oh, look, they're scaling him back. And I just want to correct the record and say that's not what's happening, because from the very jump, they were always intended to be 2 different characters. Like Yasuke was a samurai,
Right.
Naue was the assassin. They've always said that.
Obviously, they have very different, play styles. But what we're saying here in this article that Frank got from his source is that narrative changes were also made that you'll see as we go through that are going to decrease his role and make
I
it more
believe
now.
that, but I'm not talking about the story. I'm talking about this gameplay bit that we're looking at right here.
Yeah, no, I was anticipating a different skill set for sure across the board, but
I mean, they said it. They've never hidden it. So like, if you guys went into this thinking they were going to play the same, I don't know what to tell you.
No,
not anybody specific. I mean, like the royal you.
I agree with Spencer. They did say that he was going to be the samurai and now is going to be the assassin. But here's the thing: they have curtailed his samurai in the Japanese version, especially in the wordings. Because one thing that I specifically asked, wait, have they improved the combat or anything like that? No, the combat is pretty much what was already made, and it's too difficult to change again. So the only thing they were able to do was to pretty much cut or refine something that was already in it. And the one thing that they want to refine was the parkour system. And that's why the parkour system is what they've been aiming for people to look at now. Oh, look at the parkour system. Look at now. And this is completely opposite to how they marketed before. If you remember, before the explosion, Yasuke was front and center. He was the one.
And he's being moved to the back. But interestingly enough, and I like that you included this in here, Skill Up talked about playing the game after 5 hours and saying that the experience of playing Yasuke is vastly different. Well, inferior compared to playing Naoe. Well, here's the thing. Like you have a different skill set, samurai to ninja, right? Or in this, shinobi in this case, I would guess. Yeah. So I'm looking at these things and I'm going, okay, so you would expect that, but if it's inferior, if it's clunky, there's a lot of different game mechanics that are being introduced that I am not a fan of. This should not be a From Software game, and it looks like there's a lot of that kind of thing in especially his combat mode. According to Skill Up, though, Yasuke lacks the versatility, so that indicates that Naue has more versatility.
Yeah,
and I think that's I think that could be a real turnoff for some gamers. And I have to tell you, the last thing I worry about is how quickly I can climb a tower, right? So you can talk about the parkour all day long, but it was smooth enough back when they were using their own engine when they were doing Black Flag, right?
Yeah.
Now, I know they've switched engines to, get more devs available to actually do stuff, but that sacrifices an awful lot. Again, according to the source, the $20 million delay of Assassin's Creed Shadows was not merely to polish the game, but to shift focus away from Yasuke. That's a powerful statement if that's really, what that source was indicating. And did they kind of say that in the same verbose, way? Is that word for word?
It is word for word, because
Wow.
the reason why that came out is because I had heard a rumor way back about a side quest that they had cut out that was going to involve Yasuke's background as a slave, specifically slavery, and how white slavers had taken him. And I had heard that apparently that had been cut, or that it was, I wanted to double check: is this true? Is this something that's going to happen? And although this one, the person really didn't want to answer it, that's when we started talking about how Yasuke has been put more in the background and they've cut certain things. So, I mean, you're definitely going to see the Portuguese like person who kind of brought Yasuke, and he is a villain. No surprise there. So she wanted to be very careful about this, but she did say that it is clear from the get-go that Yasuke was a reaction to the George Floyd, and that was why he was going to be prominent. And that has shifted. That has shifted. And it's not just the reaction, the backlash that happened with the game. It's also how people are now looking upon the George Floyd situation. So it was something they were thinking slightly even in the beginning, but the reaction from Japan was what killed it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that also it kind of killed it here in the States too. I mean, it's pretty easy for us to see what's happening. We're seeing a lot of hate pile on for streamers like oh my gosh, Hondo, what's his last name? Spencer, help me out.
I know who you're talking about. I totally don't know his name.
Yeah, yeah, because that was all yesterday. I think
Marvin wrote an article or two about
he
him.
Probably did. Marvin.
Are you talking about a film with Abraham Lincoln killing vampires?
No. The YouTuber who's having his video.
I did just write about him. Gosh,
I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Hold on, I'll tell you.
I see him in my face memories, in my head movies.
Yes, his name is Shohei Kondo.
Yeah, there it is, Kondo.
Yeah.
So Shohei Kondo. So yeah, so people were piling on trying to mass report him, and kept getting his video knocked down, which didn't have any hate in it whatsoever. It was really annoying. And I'm going, they just don't want this. They just don't want this out there. They've had all the negative publicity they can probably deal with, but you can't just shoo it away. It's not a bug. Right.
Well, I mean, culture. Let's also look. I mean, like all of this came, out of the Summer of Love. They wanted all of this to be like focused on like the BLM kind of thing. What was also going on around that time? Stop Asian Hate, where people were being assaulted in the street, and that was a big concern for a lot of people until they figured out who was assaulting the Asian people, and now we've got an Asian hate simulator.
It's called the community that's attacking this guy.
Yeah, look, now you get to be a big, huge black guy running through and chopping up Asians and beating the crap out of them.
Yeah, I look from Samurai to Creed. Ubisoft rewrites Yasuke's role, so I pretty much feel like this was always going to be the only solution for them to get out of this quickly was to just almost make him disappear, kind of like John Boyega on a Star Wars poster. But I thought that was the only way out. What I also think is really bad for them is that the game's going to feel incomplete, clunky. I mean, do you think they're able to hold this together narratively? Do you think that some story elements are going to be missing? Do you think there's going to be continuity beyond that just feels unnatural? If like I said, if this is all the case, I mean,
I think Valhalla's continuity and story was a disaster. So I don't think they're gonna have any real criticism on that. I mean, yes, I do think if people will feel that this doesn't feel correct, but have you heard the cringy dialogue they have in this game already? I don't think the writing and the story is going to be their biggest concern. I think it's the fact that they botched it so badly that they realized that, okay, the best thing we can do is cut as much as we can of this horrible dialogue. I mean, frankly, I think that was the best solution.
Well, I have not watched a lot of it because I played Veilguard, so it's Culture's turn now to have to play
Yeah.
the
Yeah, I
obviously
know.
terrible game.
I
Yeah,
know,
that's on him.
and I'm gonna do it part-time on here on that gameplays and part-time on my own channel. So people will have to come over to my channel too to watch me suffer. But I do know this. I do know this. We've got lots of people out there with something to say. I want to say thank you for putting this article together. There's so much more to this article that Frank worked on. You definitely are going to want to get in to read it. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, this new Assassin's Creed game is going to have plenty of shadows. Like I said, that chick Sumo is going to just throw shadows over entire towns. She's enormous. It's like they decided to put a good gravy. All right, let's get to these supers. We've got plenty. I'm sorry, guys. We do kind of need to move on. We had 6 stories today, and I still don't think we're going to get through them. We love talking to you, and 90 minutes isn't enough. We're gonna have to figure out a way to make the show longer or do it more frequently. But where did we leave off? Hang on. Hawaiian Dragon Star, Shed Tears for Clowns. All right, here we go. From T Neil 89 for $5 and quarters. Says saying AC Shadows has been improved is still like saying oh no, I already did this one. That was good. All right, sorry.
It's supposed to be like, wow, he's really harping on that Treblanka thing.
He's right, but I like Treblinka. But anyway,
he really liked that joke.
It was a good joke. I did. That's why I went back on it. But anyway, Jacob Foxfires for 5 more culture. Nah, it's not culture. Quarters, 5 more dollars in quarters. Good lord, the female sumo. As someone who likes learning random things, sumo is a tradition that is heavily regulated. Only males can be sumo.
I was gonna look that up. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
No, it is. It's true.
It's very true. It's very true.
In fact, when I saw that character on the live stream, I thought to myself, wait, hold on. Is she actually fighting with her fists? It's like, and then, yeah, she is. Like, that's her weapon.
Well, so it looks like women can be sumo wrestlers, but that started in the Edo period, which is, I believe, after this game takes place.
Yeah, there's a lot of convolution here, including the fact that watermelons are even in this game because they wouldn't have been there yet. It's a whole other conversation.
It's in the article. It's like it's
yeah.
I don't know if it's subtle racism by Ubisoft, to be frank.
It's not very subtle.
Yeah.
It's Frank. That's not subtle. You completely. We're gonna make the most authentic feudal period game ever. Really?
No, it's like, yeah, black guy, watermelon. Hello, he loves watermelons. I was like,
it's so terrible.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah.
oh, what? You're welcome.
That's the first thing I saw, dude. Was like, wow, that's racist. All they needed was fried chicken. That's the next thing they needed to throw in there. Oh,
do not do a KFC sponsorship, please. Abandon ship. Don't do it.
I will laugh my ass off if they have a side quest where he hunts chicken.
Oh no,
I mean,
no,
you can't be more.
No. Oh, please stop being racist. Come on, Ubisoft, you can do it. It's electric. Boogie Oogie. Okay, maybe that was the wrong time for that. I got to get to more supers, guys. Thanks so very much for your support. We appreciate it. Made a way to make us take off on a tangent. Hawaii Dragon Star for $5 more and quarters says sounds like they have to drop Yasuke and just have Naoe as the only player character. He plays like a barbarian, not an assassin. Maybe have him DLC. Well, they're giving you free DLC because nobody wanted this game.
Clause of something. Hold on. Clause of J.
Spencer.
Clause.
I rely on Spencer's memory too much, I think.
What are you asking me for?
A clause of Awaji is the DLC.
Yeah.
I think
I don't have DLC for Assassin's Creed. I gave that series up a long time ago.
I know, but you would know. You're informed.
I give Assassin's Creed stuff to Ryan because at least he still has some interest in it.
By the way, Ryan's a good writer.
Oh yeah, love him over there.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah. By the way, I think I'm doing 2 videos from your stories this week coming up here. So there's that. T Neil 89 is here with $20 worth of quarters, dude. That's pizza. Okay, you guys want a large pizza?
We're in
Yes,
the territory.
please. Stuff
If we're in an
crust.
arcade, we can
I've
afford
start-
like 3 pizzas with that.
I've
2
started
liter
actually
soda?
liking pepperoni pizza, and I know
Oh.
that's so wrong as an Italian, but
No, it's delicious.
good. It's good.
Yeah. So anyway, T. Neal hooks us up for 20. Says so they bet on Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer being historically accurate and resent that it's been shown to be a work of fiction. That's stupid. Like a frightening level of stupid. That'd even prevent one from being drafted. Yeah.
Wait. Are you trying to tell me that Abraham Lincoln did not actually fight vampires with a
well,
silver-tipped axe? What did they
I'm
even
just-
make a memorial for him for then?
Yeah, well, because he did lots of other great
For
things.
his hat. He had a really cool hat, and they were like,
And he
we
was
gotta honor
tall.
that.
Mar-
And he was tall.
Yeah,
That dude.
That is
that
the
dude.
Hall of Fame of hats.
That's right. That dude
Speaking-
could dunk while wearing that hat. That's the
Speaking
other
of the
thing,
Hall
man.
of Fame and
So-
dunking, I hate to break this to you, Marvin, but Michael Jordan didn't actually meet the Looney Tunes. He didn't go in the Hall of Fame for that. I'm
That's
very
a
sorry.
lie, Nolan.
That's
I
a
Why
lie.
are, you,
watched that
That's-
game.
why
that's
are
a
we
lie.
spreading disinfo on this channel? We're
Space
supposed to
Jam
know
is
here.
documentary. Space Jam is documentary.
That's
It's
what
one
I'm
of
saying,
3
Frank. What's
basketball
Nolan doing over
games.
here?
It's one of 3 basketball games I've ever watched in my life. Michael Jordan
Yeah.
retires, Michael Jordan comes back, and Space Jam.
There you go.
Well, that's the same one as the second game.
Right.
Wow. All right. Well, we're going to get back on track. I just want to say thanks again to T. Neal and everybody else for your wildly supportive support. Wildly, that's terrible. Don't say that. But I will say thank you again to T. Neal 89 for another $5 in quarters. We're definitely getting a 2 liter of soda. Maybe we'll get 2 liters of soda. But for
I'm
5
all
more,
hopped up on Mountain Dew.
that's
As long as
right.
we don't get Dr. Pepper.
No. That's that. But that'll help you poo because it's got prune juice in it. It'd be good. No. All right. Anyway, so 5 more dollars in quarters. Not so, Spencer. There's plenty to say. It's just that it's mostly mockery, comeuppance, and various degrees of neatering.
It's true, but I feel like we've already done it, and I'm just waiting for the death roll now. We got a month, and then I can finally go like, "We told you so."
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof.
I was writing the article, and at the end I realized, geez, I've written so much about Ubisoft now, and then I realized it's still January.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
How?
We
It's
got
like,
2 months to this
man,
game.
Yeah, they
there's
have
still one more month for them to
Yeah.
release the game.
it. And here's the problem: maybe they push it again because they picked the wrong release date.
And I also mentioned in the
Would be so
Article.
funny.
I also mentioned in the article, the Rise of Ronin is releasing their game to PC on the 11th, I think it was 11th of March, which is 9 days before Assassin's
they're
Creed
not-
Shadow.
They're like not advertising that game. I'm kind of upset about that because it
No,
looks
no.
good, but like they don't talk about it.
No, and like, but they clearly did it with no fear with Assassin's Creed Shadows, and also that game is good. That game is good. I like it a lot. It's don't play it if you're not if you're just for graphics, because it's gameplay. That's what's good.
Yeah. All right. You know what? I want to stay in the vein here because Spencer wrote
Yay.
a story that he doesn't want to admit to. He's trying to be like all stealthy, like he didn't know anything about
Oh no, I
Assassin's
was just
Creed.
talking about your vain comment.
What do you mean?
Oh, because a second ago I went gay. I thought that's what you were talking about.
He means that you're so vain that you probably think this song is about you.
Well, I know the story is written by him. Let's get it up on the screen. We got more to talk about Assassin's Creed, courtesy of Spencer, because it's tricky.
It's tricky. Beady, beady, beady. I don't even know how the song goes. I'm like,
It's
blanking
tricky
on it.
to rock around to rock.
There we go,
around,
yeah.
rock
It's tricky.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry guys, oldness here.
Old man
just
corner.
throw it onto the stage. Assassin's Creed Shadows associate director says it's been very tricky adapting feudal Japan into video game form. We want to avoid telling culture about their own culture.
I have so many comments about that one. Oh my god!
Let him go. Let
Let's
him
go,
off
guys.
the leash.
I don't know,
very-
guys. I'm
There's-
just tired of talking about Assassin's Creed now that it's Spencer's article. So,
That's what I'm saying.
It's very tricky to adapt feudal Japan. Have any of these people read a book or played a game that actually adapted it well, or anything? Like what he meant with tricky is that he's not used to reading anymore. That's what he meant, because it's not tricky. The feudal Japan is perhaps one of the most well recorded points of history, even sometimes even better than in our country. And so it's like, how is that tricky? You have every source right in front of you. You just need to adapt it.
It doesn't sound all that tricky, and the architecture should have been a no-brainer. And
Yeah.
all of the advertising, marketing stuff has basically been very anti-Japan. But according to Spencer himself, that there's this assistant director out there named Simon LeMay Comtoy. I imagine that's French.
He has come in his name. Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yeah. One of the biggest challenges faced by Ubisoft in creating Assassin's Creed Shadows was adapting the setting of feudal Japan to a digital setting. Particularly, the game's dev team wanted to avoid telling a culture about their culture. Spencer, can you expand on this?
Not so. There's a quote from him in there. It's gonna be like, we should just read that because that's really all it is. To me, this just feels like an excuse to it's so hard to do this, so don't get mad at us when things are wrong, especially because like they've beyond dug themselves into a hole here, because they went, oh yeah, this is going to be more historically accurate than a regular game. Oh no, it's still an Assassin's Creed game. Oh no, we're really working with historians.
Yeah.
Oh no, we brought them in too late. Oh, like, it's just, they don't know what they're doing. And this interview came out the same day that we got the footage yesterday, where it's springtime and there are watermelons, which is, cherry blossoms are a spring flower, watermelon are a summer fruit. You're not going to get them together. And so if you're trying to go and profess constantly that we're putting in so much research, we're being so attentive, it's just like, I don't see it. Especially, I think Frank mentioned it, or Culture did. Like, we started this entire cycle off with people going, that's not a Japanese building in your trailer. That's a Chinese one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And then-
why are those lanterns there? You got the wrong Asian country. I mean, it's this whole conversation, right?
Bingo.
Yeah, I think, and this is why I love this article, is because it speaks to, like, they're trying to, like, I guess, gaslight you that they really tried to make this an authentic game.
Yeah.
It failed across the board. So he beginning with praise for how his team is really good at taking a place that has not been put in a game and then putting it in a game. No.
So like, this is the other thing that got me, is like, so like, all like, hold on, how do I put this? Like, stepping into the meta sense, like, you're just showing your whole butt here, because if you're going, oh yeah, our team is really good at adapting things that haven't been done before, but now that we have to do a place that other people have tackled in a variety of media, now it's super tricky. Like, so you're basically just saying, we can only get away with this if people are wholly unfamiliar with the setting that we're going to.
Yeah.
Like, I'll admit, not a lot of people are going to be that familiar with like Byzantine Empire, like the Byzantine Empire or stuff like that, but feudal Japan, people are definitely going to know that.
Yeah, and it's going back to like being like, they hired historians, and like you stated, oh, we want it to be historically accurate. Oh, but this is wrong. Okay, now we don't want to be historically accurate. Okay, it's just a game. But Yasuke was a real samurai. But no, don't be big. Oh, we had historians who we hired, one of which turned out to be a fraud. The other one has written a book about monks and boys having sexual intercourse. It's like, but she was brought in as an expertise on Yasuke. That makes no sense. And then, yeah, I don't 18,666 employees at Ubisoft, and not a single one of them looks up the date 20th March on marketing. Also, it's like, I have never seen such incompetence.
I don't agree with that point of argument, because I could literally look up any day on the planet and find a terrible thing that has happened. So I don't really like that line of argumentation.
You
Just
can
like
find a terrible thing that's happened, but could you also find the literal worst modern domestic attack in the history of the nation?
I could probably find. We've probably
The
released
30th
games.
anniversary.
We have probably released games on the same day that we've had Waco, that we had Ruby Ridge. I'm not going to complain about that.
Were those games specifically about American?
I don't know, because I just said we might have, but that's the thing. Maybe we did. Maybe we released a Call of Duty on a Ruby Ridge day. It doesn't matter to me. Just like I don't care. I don't personally care either if Yasuke is running around killing Japanese people. Because otherwise, I would have to get mad about Resident Evil 5. And I remember Resident Evil 5, and I refuse to get on.
You're taking things completely out of context. And it's kind of disingenuous. The reason why this is hold on one sec. Hold on. The reason why people are upset about this is that they have virtue signaled so hard at the people of Japan about how much they love their culture and how much this is a love letter to them. Meanwhile, they're doing things like this. It's a hypocrisy thing, Spencer. We've
probably released a Japanese inspired. We've probably released an episode of Shogun on a date when there was a really major bad thing that happened in the feudal Japan era.
And did we virtue signal super hard about it?
I'm not going to say that. I know they virtue signaled about it.
It's hypocrisy that people are mad about.
There's a lot of hypocrisies. I'm not going to get on them about the date.
Okay. I have one question for you, Spencer. Just one. Okay. No. Despite this date, you do agree that some aspect of incompetence is clear. That's all I'm asking.
Okay. Wildly
disagreed with that. I don't think this is a good game or they're a good dev team, but I'm picking my fights. I'm not going to go, wow, you guys are the worst people ever because they got a date. They picked a bad date. And I'm also not going to go, wow, you guys are super bad because you have a black guy killing Japanese people in Japan, because we did this. That was the same discourse they leveled at us over Chris from Resident Evil 5.
Yes, but Chris from Resident Evil 5 was not based on George Floyd in the Summer of Love, Spencer.
You guys are saying George Floyd.
Time out. Guys, we're wildly off the subject. Okay. Yeah. We need to press on. We've got more story here from Spencer, which I think is really important. And we have some super chats we're going to need to get to. Plus, we have a Nintendo story that Nolan did a great job on. I want to get to before we have to wrap up. So let's take a look very quickly at the fact that one of the things that bothers me the most here is that none of the things in this quote were anything that they really cared about genuinely. And I think this is largely, Spencer, what I think you found the heart of the whole issue, because it says, so we had to be very careful, handle it with care, do our research, do due diligence. By the way, did you know that to do research and do due diligence and double check things is all the same thing? In this quote, he says the same thing 3 times. To do research, to do due diligence. What is due diligence? Research, right? And to double check. What is double checking? Research. He said it 3 times. It was supposedly that important. He said it in 3 different ways with Japanese experts on an astounding amount of details. Well, they largely relied on who, Spencer?
What do you mean? For what?
Lockley.
Lockley, yeah.
Well, they relied on Lockley. They relied on a bunch of people. Lockley was the main source for Yasuke, but they brought in other people way late. That was one of the big problems, is that they brought in general Japanese history experts way after they started development, like months. So they had to scramble and go, oh crap, we really need some actual history experts on here. It's not just all Lockley. This is not just a Lockley game. Lockley is the Yasuke part of it.
Lockley is, that's true. Lockley's they took Lockley's book and adapt that for Yasuke. I know Basashi Smith. She was brought in 2022, but she was oddly enough also brought out to expertise on Yasuke, which made no sense to me, based on if you know her background.
I mean, they were insisting that there was elements of the culture that fit into the modernity of today in Japan at the time, which was wildly rejected by the Japanese people themselves. Mm-hmm. I don't believe they did much research. I have to ask a question, because I mean, they recently just closed it, but they had a studio in Osaka.
Yeah, good point.
Good point. Who was working in Osaka?
Not the people who are working on Shadows anymore.
Spencer, was it you or somebody else that said that a lot of game devs that were in Japan were from China or other Asian
I didn't
countries?
say that.
Somebody did on one of our shows, one of the live shows. I don't remember who it was that you showed that, but
I have never heard anything to that extent, and I would like to see, like, before I jump to that conclusion. I'd
yeah,
like to see some info.
no, me
Yeah, I haven't
too. I
heard that
just
either.
I have it here.
I'm
I have it here.
you do okay.
Yeah, Japanese YouTuber discovers Ubisoft is hiring a native Japanese localizations tester in China. No, never mind. That was that's
Yeah,
why
that's
the
that's
the-
localization.
That's just like a normal job.
Yeah. No,
so-
I mean, yeah, it's like again, it's language change and research to make sure you get it right. But look, we want to avoid telling culture about their culture is still the best quote in here. That's one of the reasons as well why we have Yasuke as an outsider in the game. His perspective, there's a word, perspective, allows us to be a little more, I would say, free in terms of what Yasuke can do or say, as he's not from Japan and he doesn't know how exactly everything. We were careful and attentive to feedback, and still it's been a pretty constructive journey learning about Japan on the way. I have very low expectations for this game. But
that part right there really gets to me, because it's what you would call it. It is contradictory, because they're going, we put in Yasuke as an outsider so that he could be this, our lens into the Japanese culture. And we're not telling them about their culture. We're letting that Yasuke observe it as we observe it. And it's like, if you'd have made a fictional, like, even if it was a fictional black guy, I could maybe get behind that statement. But you went and you picked a guy who a white dude over in America is huffing up as a genuine samurai and saying, this is the real guy, and saying, yeah, we're going to base a character on that guy. You lose the plot there.
I think they lost the plot well before that.
Well,
because
yes.
this game wasn't this game just an obvious virtue signal beginning to end. I mean, since its announcement, right?
The game itself, no, because everybody expects an Assassin's Creed. The theming and the Yasuke-ing, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Shadows went into production 2020, right after the George Floyd thing. So
actually, it was in pre-production in 2018.
Yeah, it's been in production for a long time.
Yeah, pre-production, but actual production went into 2020. And pre-production, they were looking into making a Asian Assassin's Creed game. Whether it was going to be Japan was not sure. It was after Ghost of Tsushima's release that they decided very clearly they're going to go for Japan. But back to the statements of the Spencer's article, was he high? The guy who said that?
That's a good question.
None of what he said makes sense.
At the very least, very drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was very redundant. Like I said, I pointed out he said three things that were all the same thing in a sentence. It must not have been that important, to pay attention to. But anyway, any final words on obviously
that's kind of like, isn't that like the sort of neo-leftist word games we always see culture? In the sense of your the triple reiteration of doing your research. It's like they forget what the words they say a second ago, and it's not, admittedly, it's not just the neo-leftist, it's kind of just any ideologue, but they'll forget what they said a second ago just to make it sound good in this new second. So he was like saying all three of those things, and he probably thought like, this is what I need to say now, and this is going to hit it, and forgetting like legitimately what he just said, because it all just matters like, what did I say most recently?
I mean, it would have been more effective to just say we utilized the expert opinions of people that are well thought of or whatnot, and that would have fed better into the idea that they actually got out and got experts.
But like, here's the thing: you say that, and I know he would have said that, and we all would have railed on him, rightfully, we all would have railed on him. So my thought, like when you were saying that, is like, should they just be quiet? I feel like there's nothing, they're not gaining anything right now by going out and doing press. Anytime they do press, they always immediately shoot themselves in the foot with either a preview or whatever. So I feel like at this point, just be quiet, let the game release, take your hits, and well, I don't know if you're going to be existing long enough to make another game, but at least move forward.
That's a really great point. I can't see it any other way now. I feel like shutting up is the better part, of valor here in this situation, for no other way to say it. But it certainly would have been a lot wiser. Regardless, I do want to get to the fact that we have a leaderboard, which was accurate up until just a second ago. I want to flash that on the screen here in just a moment, and I want to thank all of our amazing supporters out there that really are building this channel in a lot of different ways. So please do me a favor, my friends, and consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed to the channel, and hit that thumbs up button. Leave us a comment if you're watching on the replay, even if it's just to put hashtag replay gang in there. Your subscriptions will grow us past 5K, hopefully by the end of February, and we will be on our way to 10K before summer, I hope. We're going to start doing live competitive gaming starting in February once I return from Florida. So keep an eye out for
Jonas
that.
versus the children in Fortnite.
There you go. And this was the leaderboard, which was accurate up until just a couple moments ago when Radio Drago showed up and Night of Dango showed up. And yeah, so it's pretty wild. But it looks like T Neil's been holding down the month of January pretty much all alone. We've got him in the gold supporter right now. As of right now, Jacob Foxfires is silver, and for bronze, Hawaiian Dragon Star. Well done. So yes, we appreciate the support. You're not just keeping us in quarters for the arcade machines, but you're getting us pizza and liters of soda and maybe even a copy of Assassin's Creed Shadows for me. So just realize that you
at least
that going.
like 9 copies of I've already forgotten the name of the game. Concord.
yeah, except that I don't even know if you get that. I think that's in full-on collector mode at this point.
I was actually going to ask our audience, because like I don't go to physical stores that often, like a GameStop or whatever, so I haven't seen them. Are they still out there? I would go grab one right now, even though I'm sure you're right, Culture, they've all been snagged up.
Well, I know
the
that
first option on eBay, if you look up Concord, for a sealed copy is $33. So it hasn't skyrocketed too much.
What?
Yeah.
Well, Stuttering Craig bought like 3 of them. Like, I mean, obviously
he should have given. He should have like not bronzed them, but like golded them and given those away as the Game Awards.
Well, yeah, metallic paint would have certainly helped there. That's for sure. But I do want to say thank you to everybody who has contributed. You guys are incredible, and we appreciate that. I'm busy updating the tote board as we speak, so we got to get to some of these supers. I will get there in seconds.
February 14th, everybody, mark your calendars. A turning point for the gaming industry. It's a Friday. We can play it all weekend.
There you go.
Everyone's gonna be too busy going to see Captain Not American.
Wait, never mind. No, that's right. Oh, I've totally forgot, Marvin. You're right. That's the one that's on that date now. I forgot they pushed back Assassin's Creed again. Dang it. That was my favorite joke, was that you could take your girlfriend to pick up your copy of Assassin's Creed on the way to take her to see Captain America. And then drive immediately to the divorce lawyer.
That's actually true.
Shadow of the marriage.
All right, we left off. Wow, shadow of the marriage indeed. T. Neil sends $2 more. Duke Nukem's failure was at least funny. Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, it was, and Duke Nukem was like an exception, right? Like we never thought it was going to come out, and it came out, and it was bad, and it was just one of those like, wow, what a ride we were on. And now it's like all these games are like that. Every single game takes 9 years to develop, comes out, is broken, is trash, and nobody likes it. Yeah. And we just have to suffer.
There you go. Hey, Night of Dango's in the house for $10 worth of quarters. Thank you. We can now we can order mozzarella sticks and hot wings. You guys excited? I am.
You had good arcades.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, you've never been to a Dave and Buster's?
Cheese, so
they're not just throwing warm cans of Pepsi at you?
Yeah.
No. Anyway, that statement was from the same studio that painstakingly made Ancient Greece come to life in a video game. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild, Night of Dango?
Greece, Egypt,
Origins, specifically was so good.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
It was very good.
Venice.
Well, like,
I mean,
Oh, in
I,
2?
I
Was Venice?
everywhere you went
Can't
in the first few games, or actually from 2 till about what 5? Because I'm telling you, Black Flag was
Everything. It's like
equally
2 to
gorgeous.
Black Flag, and then an exception for 3, which really bums me out because I was so excited for 3 because I'm like, whoa, a game in like colonial American times. We
America.
never get that.
Yeah,
That's gonna be so
America.
sick. And then
3 is my
like
favorite,
the
actually.
and then you get the like the cutscene, the opening cutscene has Connor throwing his like axe because he's half Native American. And like it's good, Marvin. I felt like it didn't deliver on what I was like expecting from the
All right.
trailers and everything. So I was like,
I'm loving this conversation, but we do have a story from Nolan I want to round out the stream with.
Nolan!
We've got 14
Bye.
minutes left. So I want to say thank you, Knight of Dango. Thanks for being here. I don't know that I've seen you here before, but thank you for participating. We appreciate it. Kamchi for $2.25 says, let us agree this still is a super disastrous game. Yes, it is.
Nothing's changing that.
yeah, for sure. For another $2 from Kamchi. If the dev were Chinese, makes sense due to the hate of the Japanese race. That's true. But I do remember that being a conversation. So I'm gonna go I'll do my research legitimately. Unlike
Are you gonna double check?
I'm gonna double check and do due diligence. That bothers me so much. I remember that. You know what I mean?
I know.
But thank you.
I can tell just from hearing it on your tongue.
Yeah. T Deal back with another 2 in quarters says something alternative facts lazy, etc.
yeah.
Exactly. T Deal. Yes. Something. Yeah. I have to say something. I need a quote. Radial Drago returns with 20. Wow, this is proper
20
money.
pounds.
20 pounds sterling, proper money. Says, I would agree with Spencer, but I would say it's like the icing on the cake. I don't think anybody would care about the date if it wasn't other mistakes. The Tory Gate brought to light and on their incompetence. How about they stole that clan, that reenactment clan's flag? I mean, it goes on and on. That art book was full of stuff they did not make.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
don't want to bring that up.
I agree with you.
Long.
I do get that it's like the icing on the cake type of thing. I totally get. I'm not gonna say nobody should like care about that. I just don't care about it.
That's understood. White Dragonstar for $5 more in quarters says releasing ACS on 320 is like releasing a game about playing a Japanese who helped Washington win the Revolutionary War on 9/11. Just claim it's true.
That sounds rad as heck.
Yeah.
First of all, that'd be fun if that actually happened. I did. Like I said, it's not that we're not open to these ideas. It's just they have to be at least authentic.
The execution has just been the worst way. Like I said before, if you'd have gone, we still would have criticized it. But if you made a completely fictional black guy as your samurai, we'd be having a much different conversation.
That's so very true. Speaking of very true things, I'd like to say thank you to T. Neal for another $5.25, saying AC Shadows is the proverbial video game equivalent of attaching a countdown and marketing campaign to the LA fires made by a French Randy Pitchford. There you go. Yeah.
It's also like keep in mind once Shadows comes out and it does not do as hot because we know it's not going to. We're gonna see the floodgates open on all of their like selling off things and going to Tencent. It's going to be off to the races.
You sound like me, Spencer. We must hang out too much.
No way. Friends?
Yeah, shh, don't tell anybody. T-Neil89 for $2 more says, can one of those competitive games be Dark Tide? Okay, T-Neil, I don't know what it is. I think I looked it up. Didn't remember what it was. I'll look at it, okay? I don't know what it is. Maybe we'll play it. You probably are going to dominate us like redheaded stepchildren, but it might be fun. Base player 2011 iffy for $5 more says, want game based in Japan with a character that is on the outside looking in. Let me a Commodore Matthew C. Perry recommend. That's what it was. It got corrected. And his 1953 expedition. Okay, I'm up for it. I'm up for that, to be fair.
He's in Rise of Ronin, which is quite fun. Like he's in Rise of Ronin, which is like more historically accurate than Shadows.
Okay,
It's ridiculous.
we have 5 minutes to get through this and 5
Yes.
minutes for outros. So here we go. I want to say thank you to Nolan for putting together this story, and I'm going to leave it to you to explain it. So we have to talk about Nintendo. That's one of the things we love here. And you know what? Who's not here? Even Jonas is not here, and he loves Nintendo almost as much as Nolan. Let's talk about this Super Mario Run, this mobile relic. Nolan, take it away. Tell us about this.
All right, so back in yesteryear, back in 2016, Nintendo wasn't doing too hot. They were about done with the Wii U era. It was a complete flop for them. It was hard times. Satoru Iwata, their former president, had to take a pay cut, and the culture just wasn't where it needed to be. Like, they had completely lost their impact on the zeitgeist of across the globe, from America, Japan. And at the time, all these media outlets were just dogging on Nintendo. I remember it vividly. They were just saying, like, yeah, you used to be able to make your own character in like Wii Sports, and now it's just another Mario game. They just need to go third party. They need to make games for your iPhone and all that. And it just wasn't great. And then, of course, their president at the time, Satoru Iwata, he tragically passed away. And the company's future was kind of like, hey, where are they going to go with things? Thankfully, as we know today, they rebounded with the Switch. They didn't listen to all those outlets, but they did dabble a little bit into the phone market. They took a shot with it, and we got a video game as a result called Super Mario Run. It's a tap-to-jump game where Mario automatically runs around the world, and they put on the App Store for a full-fledged $10 smackaroos right there, which was kind of weird and jarring in an era where they were starting to shift more towards the free-to-play module, where you just have in-app purchases. And unlike a lot of live service games we see in the normal gaming industry, that works very well on mobile games. So Nintendo gave it a shot. It kind of got off to a little bit of a rocky start, but the game really seemed to rebound and actually made over reported 50 million figures, I believe, if I got the exact numbers down on the article. But they actually did pretty good. But the game was kind of mixed in Nintendo's reception. It kind of seemed like they weren't quite hitting the target in the audience retention that they wanted to. And for about a year here, they kind of seemed like they had given up on the game. But up until recently, after everyone thought they were done with it, they released a new update that's showing that they're putting some Mario Party Jamboree stuff in the game. You can actually get statues in the game that are based off Mario, Peach, and Bowser, respectively, to help promote Mario Party Jamboree. So I guess this game is alive and well, which is quite shocking because Nintendo has been... they shut down a Dr. Mario game here recently. Pikmin Bloom, I believe, came out in like 2021. So this is kind of a shocking return of Nintendo to the mobile games. And I'm not sure if this means that they're just going to... it's to be a one-off thing, or maybe they'll start doing mobile stuff again. It's kind of in the air.
That's amazing. Look, I think Nintendo's one of those developers that just will never give up on their properties and aren't ashamed to bring something back, right? Especially if they think it's going to work.
So I have an admission to make. Not only have I played this game, I do play this game. I'm playing this game right. I'm playing this game right now.
Nice.
Amazing. That's pretty cool.
I'm so jealous that your guys' like Infinite Runner is still up, because I played the Spider-Man Unlimited one for a long time, and that was free, and they just shut it down out of nowhere. Like not even this, Nolan, not even just like, oh, we went quiet. It was just one day you tried to load it, and they said, nah, we're done here.
There is no sympathy for the mobile games. There was a Simpsons game that was up for like a decade or whatever, and they just
out, and it just shut down.
Yeah, pulled the plug their day. Like, they have no sympathy. It's tragic.
Well, and that's the other problem that I have with live service games or games that are not based, that you don't physically have like the copy of. This is why I'm always going to say, if you can get physical media of anything, do it, because there might be a day when it just isn't available. And this is the other reason I hate live service games, is because at any point they can shut off your service. And if that takes the game down with it, did you ever really own it anyway? On that note, we've got exactly 5 minutes to wrap up the show. I wanted to grab an amazing last second super chat from our good friend Oraxis. There's $5 in quarters saying insert membership gifting here. Thank you. And very soon we will get to that point. I'm going to twist Jonas's arm a little more. as my co-host, but I think we may drop it before we get to 10K, especially if we're going to start doing competitive gaming. I want to say thank you to Araxis and everybody else that was a huge supporter today. We've got an updated leaderboard, and this is the last one for the month, guys. Next week we're on a new leaderboard.
What happened to January? What the
It's
heck?
gone. But what's not gone is the love and support that is from all of you, which we deeply appreciate, because we got to grow our team and grow our budget so we can do more. So once again, at the end of the day, platinum is T Neil 89, who's been off to he had a really early head start in this run. And then of course, gold supporter day is T Neil 89. In second, we've got Radial Drago coming in at the last moment. And in the bronze position is Jacob Foxfires. So there are today's major supporters on the updated leaderboard. Gentlemen, you each have about 40 seconds tops to tell everybody what you're about, where you're from, and what you plan to do next. Marvin, we're going to start with you because you're a busy guy.
Well, Tooningtown TV, guys, has just passed 5,000 subscribers, and this Thursday, we are going to be having our 5,000 subscriber celebration over on Tooningtown TV for Toonie Talk TV at 8 p.m. with some special guests, with some fun games that I want to play. So come check it out. It's going to be a wild time, and thank you to everyone that subscribed to Tooningtown TV for 5,000 subscribers in under a year. I'm floored by that.
I'm floored by that, too. It usually takes a long time. Well done, sir.
Thank you very much.
You've earned it.
Done. And I want to say thanks. Got one more sneak in super chat from Jacob Foxfires. Let me grab that real quick. Saying, I noticed the trend of Japanese properties on mobile shutting down recently. It might be because China and Korea have a stronghold on mobile games, and I agree with this wholeheartedly. I think Microsoft may find itself out of the gaming business at this point, even though they just acquired a bunch of studios, because they really aren't doing anything with what they own. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
No, I think it sounds on point to me. No,
Yeah.
Microsoft is I feel like they're already done. They're already dead. They already know they're dead. You don't come out and publicly admit that you've been third in every console race you've been in and expect to have a future.
Yeah. I want to say thanks to Paul Whitaker and everybody else out there today. Mike saw Mark Medina in here. I didn't see Tebow, but every once in a while Tebow stops by to hang out with us. But I just want to say thanks to all of you, everybody who showed up. Even if you didn't get highlighted, you're amazing. Okay, Spencer, 40-second elevator speech. Hurry.
BoundingIntoComics.com. Check us out for news. Go check out That Park Place for news. Go check out all of Marvin's stuff because he deserves it. It's his week, and I will see everybody on Tooningtown TV.
Sounds good. And thank you, Spencer. And do check out Bounding Into Comics. They're amazing. I often steal their articles for content. Speaking of content, Frank is here. Frank, 40-second elevator speech. Go.
Enjoy your week, and thank you for being here, and I hope you come back to the next live. You'll find me here, and you'll find me hopefully not everywhere, but mostly on Twitter.
Amazing. Thank you, Frank. And last but not least, the author of the last article and a guy who's going to get out an epic video next. Lost in the Files is coming at you from our friend Nolan Thunder. Nolan, 40-second elevator speech. Go.
Boom. Okay, if you like video game mysteries, I make documentary videos that are a mix of horror, comedy, and documentary. They're fun to do. They're over on my YouTube channel at Nolan Thunder. If you want to hear my opinions on things, you can find me over on Tooningtown TV. This Thursday, like Marvin said, we're doing the 5K celebration, and dude's totally earned it, and the machine keeps going. So always a pleasure to be here with such amazing people.
All right. And last but not least, it's me saying thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. You guys are incredible. The support has been amazing this month, in a month when normally there's not a lot of support for channels, at least not in the financial realm. So I just want to say thank you. You are helping us grow. Keep us growing by hitting the share button down below and the thumbs up button if you haven't already. If you're watching on the replay, make sure to throw at least the hashtag into the comments section, replay gang, and let us know how many views you saw us at. On that note, do check out the channel for more videos coming out very soon. I am on my way next to hang out on the HCast, your favorite afternoon evening podcast. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you will be automatically redirected over there. So I will see you soon. On that note, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others. And I will say this one last time on behalf of everybody here. Get your game on. Yeah.